Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a bizarre and hilarious story that will definitely make you laugh out loud. At this time, the hitman looked in the rearview mirror and saw no more tailgaters. He thought, hey, I can finally throw a party. However, a seasoned pro like Uncle Long quickly found a detour that could change everything. Uncle Long didn't retreat either, chasing the hitman in his fancy Lincoln. At a busy intersection, the hitman weaved through, cleverly using pedestrian confusion. He successfully built a car wall, leaving Uncle Long behind. All Uncle Long could do was roll his eyes, but thankfully remembered part of the license plate. Uncle Long quickly used the examiner's blood to note the license plate on his windshield, then calmly waited for the police to arrive, thinking to himself, I just wanted to find a legal job. The next day, determined to uncover the truth, Uncle Long brought a bouquet and visited the recovering driving instructor in the hospital. Barged in, shutting off the blaring TV, plopped down next to the instructor, and handed over a condolence card stuffed with 10 grand, asking for a favor to contact. What they didn't know was that the hitman had driven his car to a junkyard the other night, planning to make all the evidence disappear like a bad magic trick. However, this guy didn't seem too skilled in the art of arson, as a few days later, the DMV tracked down the burnt-out shell of the car through satellite. Upon arriving at the scene, Uncle Long immediately saw the clues. The car had its windows rolled up tight, meaning the fire fizzled out faster than a barbecue gone wrong. Uncle Long found a bottle of dimethylamine in the wreck, and upon searching, he found it was actually a painkiller for horses. No wonder that instructor looked so pained. Then, he found a similar bottle of gas in the passenger seat. Talk about not finding evidence, but catching a horse's MVP. Soon, they quickly pinpointed a racetrack 5 kilometers away, with a logo that looked just like that bottle of painkiller. That basically confirmed their suspicion. The hitman likely hailed from that racetrack. To uncover the truth, Uncle Long infiltrated the racetrack. A casual inquiry about a saddle earned him an instant dismissal from the lady boss. Even though he received the cold shoulder, he didn't lose heart and continued to wait until well into the night, when he finally noticed an employee coming and going frequently. He followed the employee, only to unexpectedly discover that it was Armand, his former underling from over 20 years ago. Uncle Long couldn't help but feel puzzled. Why exactly would Armand attempt to take his life? At this point, Uncle Long realized the guy might be misunderstanding things. Little did he know, the next day, he'd find Armand to get some answers. Uncle Long, puzzled, confronted Armand, only to find out that Armand hadn't been back to New York in over 20 years. Turns out they both misunderstood each other. Armand thought Uncle Long was sent by Kiki to take him out. This all dated back to a fire over 2 decades ago, where Uncle Long had to kill a partner, and the mastermind behind it all was Kiki. Among the 2 witnesses, one was a guy who once got beaten up by Uncle Long, and the other was none other than his own former goon, Armand. Armand, who is now settled and living well in Tulsa, enjoying a peaceful life, didn't want to stir up any trouble anymore from the depths of his heart. Little did they expect, these 2 old pals would unexpectedly run into each other once again in Tulsa. Uncle Long thought to himself, I'm just getting started, and could use the help. So he decided to bring Armand back into the fold. Just like that, Uncle Long recruited a new goon. However, he realized that merely having people wasn't enough. He needed to find a way to make money. Soon, he stumbled upon a new product called nitrous oxide at a party, which was highly effective and super popular among the young crowd. Uncle Long caught wind that a nitrous balloon could sell for $10, and instantly smelled a business opportunity. So he rushed to bar owner Mickey and told him to buy a ton of fresh milk under the guise of stocking up. Next night, Blackie and Brody started selling balloons at a music festival, but their booming business vexed the local biker gang who did the same. The motorcycle gang muttered in dissatisfaction, Who exactly gave you the green light here? Blackie, undeterred, retorted, We didn't make any promises at all. This is our very own turf. The bikers' grumbles turned into outright anger the next day, and they decided to back off for now and report to their boss. Ironically, their actions were seen as cowardice by the boss the next day, and they ended up getting a serious beatdown at the base. So that night, as Blackie and the crew returned to sell their goods at the party, the biker gang wasted no time attacking them. Bikers quickly made off with all their loot, leaving the crew no choice but to report the grim situation to Uncle Lon. Uncle Lon clenched his fists, trembling with anger, and immediately called for an evening meeting to plot revenge. At precisely this critical moment, a middle-aged black man who appeared quite mature showed up at the door. Surprisingly, he was none other than Blackie's father, All Black. All Black suspected his son was mixed up in gang activity and had followed him here, but little did he know he also held a grudge against the bikers. The enemy of my enemy is indeed my friend. Thus Uncle Lon warmly welcomed him without hesitation. They all marched to the party site ready to wreak havoc, setting off an epic showdown. Leading the charge, Uncle Lon swung the first hit, and his crew surged forward to unleash a crazy counterattack. In less than 15 minutes, they took down all the bikers and retrieved their stolen goods and cash, returning in triumphant victory. Just as everyone was ready to celebrate, Uncle Lon got a video call from New York. His sibling was there to deliver some heavy news. His brother was gravely ill. Uncle Lon could only console his sibling, saying he'd fly back to New York tomorrow to oversee the funeral. This ex-convict who had spent 20 years behind bars, this trip mainly meant he'd finally meet his little girl, who he barely remembered. But what he didn't know was that the very next day, the bikers were already plotting their next scheme. While Blackie was just hanging out by the roadside, he got randomly arrested by corrupt cops. What a surprising twist. However, these crooked cops used Blackie's phone to track down the other goons, planning to take them out in one fell swoop. Luckily, the first one caught, Bodie, was quite clever. He started trash-talking Uncle Lon right in front of the biker gang's leader, saving his skin in the process.